Wow, welcome everyone. So my name is Katie Paris. I am an Ohio suburban mom of two boys, and I'm also the founder of Red, Wine, and Blue Education Fund, which is a national network of over 300,000 suburban women from all around the country who are fighting back against this explosion of politically motivated book bans across the country. And we are so excited to see so many of you here tonight. This event tonight is part of our National Book Ban Busters campaign, which is an effort to unite women who are fed up with these extremist attacks on our kids' education. Honestly, most of us can't believe we're having to fight book bans in 2022, but moms, really what we need is help with childcare, help with healthcare, elder care. That would be nice too. Not getting dragged back into book banning. But we're not going to stand for these attacks on our kids' education because we want them to have a great education. And so we are actually beginning to wear them down here. Since folks all around the country, parents, students, librarians have been working together to stand up against all of this. Education censorship bills have been defeated in Indiana all the way to New Hampshire. And in local school boards, we are seeing a major slowdown at the rate at which these requests for book bans are being approved. So we know that when we organize and when we stand up together, this really does work. And also a huge great sign today, after months of pressure, Congress held a hearing right there on Capitol Hill to address this very issue of book bans. It was so inspiring. We had moms there testifying and teens right alongside the one and only civil rights icon, Ruby Bridges. So on behalf of the Red, Wine, and Blue community, as well as our partners, including Women's March, PEN America, We Need Diverse Books, Heal Together, lots of others, and lots of local parent groups. Thank you out there for being a part of this every single day. Thank you all so much for joining us. We also know that there are some members of the press who are on the call out there. If you do have questions for our speakers, please just ask them in the Q&A and provide your email address, your outlet, and we promise we will follow up and make sure that you get your questions answered. So now I want to pass the mic to my friend Tabitha St. Bernard Jacobs, one of our partners for this event tonight from the Women's March, to share a couple of words.
Thank you so much, Katie, and welcome everybody. It is incredible to see over 1,000 of you on this call here tonight. So as Katie said, my name is Tabitha St. Bernard Jacobs. I am a mom. So if you hear that screaming in the background, that's my daughter getting ready for bed. She needs mommy cuddles every night. I'm also a senior advisor for Women's March, and we are super thrilled to be partnering with Red, Wine, and Blue on this event. As parents and also as caregivers, we have immense power and voice to really advocate for an honest, high quality education for our kids. We know that to prepare our kids for the 21st century, we need them to feel safe to learn and thrive at school. We need them to learn how our country has really overcome its greatest challenges so they can help make it better. That's why protecting our kids' freedom to access books is so important to me. And it's not just important to me, more than 8 out of 10 Americans are also opposed to book bans. And that's why events like this one that you're all here for this evening are so important in terms of shining a light on this critical issue. So thank you to everyone for joining us. We're going to have impactful conversations, and we're also going to have a little fun.
Thanks, Tabitha. That was awesome. And I am so excited to get started. So it is, I can't believe I get to introduce our host tonight, Stella Parton, singer, songwriter, producer, actress, author, and sister to the incredible Dolly Parton. Stella was branded a maverick in 1975 when she launched her very own record label, Soul, Country, and Blues, before going on to write, produce, and release chart-topping albums and singles, becoming an accomplished actress and Broadway performer, and writing 3 cookbooks and an inspirational memoir, Tell It, Sister, Tell It. Stella has continued to hold true to her maverick title in so many ways, but especially as a fierce and unwavering advocate for the common good. Just recently speaking out publicly to defend Dolly's Imagination Library from those trying to tear it down. Unbelievable. Stella, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you, Tabitha, for having me. I'm just honored to be here with all of you. And this is such an incredible event for me because reading is such an important thing in our family. And as you know, the Imagination Library is such a passion for our family. And just being able to read for my grandson Liam is such an incredible experience. And one of the last books I read to him the other day was a book called My Body, What I Say Goes, which talks about, it's a child's book, but it talks about boundaries and how to teach them how to set boundaries, their personal space and all that. And I can't imagine if I was not able to read certain books myself. I remember the first book I ever read was uh, Ben-Hur. It was a Christmas gift to me. And just the power of being able to go to another place, and especially in a world like we're living in today, to be able to escape and go somewhere else. And to think that there are people who would take such literary tools from us is just mind boggling to me and heartbreaking to me as well. Also, the fact that literacy is so important to my family because my dad had dyslexia and was never able to learn to read. And one of the things he told me as he was getting older was, I asked him, I said, was there one thing you would wish you could have done that you haven't done so far in your life? And he said, if I could have learned to read, would have been the most important thing, because I know that I could have written a lot of books. And that was such a heartbreaking thought to me when he shared that. One of the things that really was sobering to me before I was invited to be here and to join you guys this on this beautiful program was a friend of mine who lives in Belize. She sent an email to me and she said, Stella, do you know they're trying to ban the book Mouse? And I thought, are you kidding? And so that's when I first realized that we were having this problem here in America right now. And I thought, oh, we have to do something. So that's one of the main reasons that I'm so excited to be a part of this event. And I would like to see it get bigger and bigger. And I know we have a lot of people have joined us tonight. And we're going to have a lot of really great reading going on and all these incredible people that have joined. And I hope you're going to have a good time. And I hope I can kind of be the book wrangler tonight. I'll do my best. And let's see what happens. I hope I'm not being too loud or too excited. I know I'm always getting excited when something this important is being done or being talked about. It just amazes me that we have to have these thoughts in our minds, and this has to be brought to us now with everything else we're dealing with in the world. And I challenged it when my sister was kind of questioned about her motives for the Imagination Library. I think the word that bothered me and that really set me off when this was being said was that she's indoctrinating children with books. And it's like, really? That is to me, I took that word as almost a sinister way to question her motives. And it was very hurtful and offensive to me. Of course, I made a big splash about it on my social media sites. And I think that might have been one of the reasons that I was contacted to be a part of this. But I just want you to know that I have passion about such a project as this and such an issue as this, because it's such an issue in our society today. And I don't know how much time I've been talking, but I know there's probably too long. But we have Renee Ellis is going to be reading, and she's a student from York, Pennsylvania. So I don't know if she's ready yet or not. And I don't, are you there, Renee?
Yes, I am. Yes,
okay.
Thank you so
Hi,
much.
baby.
Hi. It's so nice to meet you. And thank you all for being here. This is a really great opportunity and a really great program. Yes. In my school district, well, first of all, I'm Renee Ellis. I am the Director of Communications and Outreach for my school's anti-racist union. It's called the Panther Anti-Racist Union, or PARU for short. And we have been actively fighting a book ban that eventually was reversed. So that was a wonderful thing, but it did start off as shock. We found out that our school had a book ban in place through a local news station. We actually didn't get direct communication from the board. We found out through an article. And in this article, you could read and see a whole spreadsheet of information and books that they had banned. And some of these books were just so like shocking that they would even think to ban these things. They had books from the high school all the way down to elementary school. And there were some books like that were harmless. They were just teaching kids about loving one another, reaching out to one another, being good human beings. And because they were written in Spanish, they were banned. Like, we immediately thought that was wrong. We immediately saw a problem with that. And a lot of these books were written either for BIPOC students and readers or written by BIPOC authors. And the fact that they were willing to take that representation out of our schools and out of our classrooms was so hurtful. So me, my sister, Christina Ellis, who was at the Congress hearing, and she did a great job. Olivia Patuk, who was also at the Congress hearing, they've been killing it with their activism. And our president, Ida Gupta, she's also been great. And our director of art in our Paru group, Rebecca Delgado. All of us came together and we started protesting outside of our school. We started around early September, and it first became like 20 kids, 30 kids, but it continued to grow and grow and grow. And to the point where we started having local news reach out and started to have moms like you guys here on the call and came out and tried to support us and to be at our protests and to continue to let our voices be heard. And it meant so much to have the backing of our local community and eventually national news. And we were able to get the book ban reversed, which was wonderful news. And we've been continuing to work with our school district. We're actually planning a diversity celebration right now for the 27th of this month, and just to promote diversity, inclusion, because everyone deserves a seat at the table and no one should feel excluded for anything. Whether it's your skin color, your orientation, whatever you have, you should not feel excluded, especially at school. School is supposed to be a safe place for every student and for every teacher too. So we want to continue to work for that activism and want to continue to have these conversations. As mentioned before, book bans, you're taking away such an important part of education. So many kids read books and they go to these resources to escape where they're from or to see themselves in a different light. For so many people of color and for anyone who's marginalized in this country, you want to see representation. You want to see that you're important, that you're included and thought of, especially it's in the schools. When you start off at such a young age, it's so important to have these resources. So we're continuing to fight, we're continuing to work hard. And I'm so thankful for this organization for allowing me to be able to speak here and for having this event, because each and every one of you on this call is helping to promote inclusion and diversity. You're helping so many students across the entire nation that you don't even know about. This is so important to all of us, and we really thank you all. We're continuing to work and continue to inspire as many people as possible. Hopefully that these book bans will cease. We really hope that the people catch on that this is not how you can go about trying to stop indoctrination. That's not how this works. We're just trying to learn, we're trying to grow, and you will block that communication. You'll block those resources. You'll block opportunities for students by stopping us from learning. This is so critical to us and so critical to the young students who will read a book and they will see how this hatred, this racism, sexism, all the isms of the world just aren't right. That's how you learn. You learn from reading from the mistakes of others and adjusting your behavior and your attitude to be better. And we want to continue to promote that, continue to fight for that. And it means so much to us for this to be able to take place. So many student activists are going through this across the entire country. So Paru, we got a lot of national attention and we're still getting national attention, but we definitely do not want to take away from the fact that so many other school districts are struggling with this. Across the entire nation, there are people who still need help. There are teachers who still need help. A lot of teachers are scared to share resources because of the attacks that they'll get from their school board, from their communities, from parents. A lot of teachers are scared, so they need our support as well. So our librarians, they need our support. And for parents need to feel secure and know that their children aren't going to be corrupted by the school district or by the government. Our teachers know what they're doing and they're going to continue to fight for what's right. And parents should be supported as well. One big misconception about Paru is people think that we're trying to tell kids to not listen to their parents, but no, we want parents, we want teachers, we want librarians. We want everyone to be a part of the conversation because this is so important. This is just learning, growing, and learning to love one another, learning to be better and how to better ourselves. This is so important to everyone. And again, I want to thank you all so much for being here. I would now like to introduce Brad Meltzer. He has been a wonderful author who has helped us through this entire book ban. He's been by Paru's side. He's been so supportive. And his books, actually, I Am Martin Luther King Jr. and I Am Rosa Parks, were targeted by our school district. So Brad Meltzer.
Renee, thank you. I wish you could hear the clapping that is going around for you, Renee. I know I've met with Renee and her small group of students we know each other a long time now. And I'll tell you this, that's the future. I'm pointing, I don't know which way you're looking at it, but that's the future is Renee. And we love you for all you do, your entire organization, the teachers who support you. You know that there are librarians, teachers, and all those people who help support kids like this. For all the teachers I see in the comments that are listening, keep supporting those kids like Renee who are fighting back. I'll tell you very quickly our story so you can hear lots of authors read tonight. I met Renee because of this, what happened in York County. And I'm telling you this, so this is actually how to fight back. So I started a book series with my friend Chris Eliopoulos because I wanted to give my kids better heroes to look up to. I was tired of them looking at reality TV show stars and people who are famous for being famous. And I said, I want to give them heroes of kindness and compassion, humility. Remember when humility was a great American value? We lost that and we need to bring it back again. So we started with I'm Amelia Earhart and I am Abraham Lincoln. We did I Am Rosa Parks. You can see a very threatening book by the cover. Chris Eliopoulos, our amazing artist. We did I Am Martin Luther King Jr., right? And these books are for kids, 4 to 12 years old and tell the story in cartoon form in a way that people love. And what York County, Pennsylvania did, oh, and I got to show you, Stella, I brought this just for you. I forgot to mention, because we've done I Am Marie Curie. Our newest one is I Am Muhammad Ali and I Am Malala, which is behind me here.
Right.
But Stella, I brought this one for you. This is our next one that's coming out. I Am Dolly Parton.
Oh, cool. That's great.
So yeah, she helped us with this. You guys and the Imagination Library people have been so helpful with it. That's coming out next, but I felt like I had to show you. But here's what they did, and this is how you fight back. What York County did as a school board is they had a list of 200 books that they wanted to read and make sure they were good. There were 200 books that were identified as being good to talk to kids about race. And they said, we're going to read these books and make sure they're okay for kids, which is a good idea. You should read books before you hand them to your kids. Here's the fast one they pulled, and you're seeing it every day, including yesterday and here in Florida, is a year went by and they still hadn't read the books. These are books that take 5 minutes to read. So what started as a freeze, we're going to freeze these books, after a year becomes an effective ban. And that's what happened here in Florida. Yesterday, because of the Don't Say Gay bill that's out, in Palm Beach County, they banned my friend's book, I Am Jazz, and they banned Call Me Max. They said, we want to read these books. We want to freeze them now. We're going to see how they're going. So when you see that happen, that's the first sign. Well, what happened for me is I immediately got a call from Fox News. I got a call from CNN. I got a call from MSNBC asking me to come in and talk about how ridiculous it was that you would ban I Am Rosa Parks and I Am Dr. King. When CNN and Fox News and MSNBC agree, you've pushed too far, right? And I went out there, and here's how the first thing I did is I went on my Twitter, I went on my Instagram, I went on my Facebook accounts, and I told everyone, buy these books. Don't just buy our books, buy every book on this list. I said, buy the book by Malala that got banned that was on our list, the book about hidden figures, about the women, of course, involved in NASA, Sesame Street's book about talking about racism, Sonia Sotomayor, including our books that were on there. I said, buy every book on that list, not just ours. And we got all these books started getting donated to York. I got invited to speak at the school board. And this is my reading tonight. I read this, and Renee, I know you heard it, but I'm going to read it for you again. This is from I Am Rosa Parks. Here's for the first official start of the reading. It says, in my life, people tried to knock me down. And I'll show you the pictures here. Tried to make me feel less than I was. They teased me for being small, being black, being different. Let me be clear, no one should be able to do that. But if they try, you must stand strong, stand for what's right, stand up for yourself, even if it means sitting down. When you do, others will follow. And then here's the part I read. I am Rosa Parks. I'm not a politician, it's my favorite line of the book, or a president, or an actor, or a famous business owner. I'm just an ordinary person. And I'm also proof there's no such thing as an ordinary person. I hope you'll always stand up for yourself, and I hope you'll remember that we're all in this together. And I read that to them, and I said, that's what you're denying to these kids. That's the great controversy that you're denying. And I thought I made this great impassioned speech, but what happened was then Renee started speaking, and all of her friends started speaking, and all these amazing students and teachers in the school started speaking. I was useless at that point. It was the parents and the mothers and the military member that I remember who got up and said, I'm so embarrassed that you're my school board. How dare you deny these great books to our kids? And by the time they were done, they were the ones who saved the day, not me. And I say that because it's all of you watching right now. The 1,200 of you that are here today, that's the voice we need right now. And I can tell you, why are we talking about book bans in 2022? I believe if you want to know about the future, you got to look at the past. I love history because I'm someone who writes books about history. The first book that was banned, that historians agree was banned by the entire country, was Harriet Beecher Stowe's classic, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Why did they ban it? They banned it because slave owners didn't want people hearing abolitionist ideas. They didn't want anyone talking about that idea, indoctrinating our kids with the idea that slavery was a bad thing. Every book ban is about two things. It's about fear and holding on to power that you think is leaving you. And that's what you're seeing here today. But here's why they'll never win. Because what books have is the one thing you can never stop. The most powerful thing in the whole world is an idea. And nothing is more powerful than idea. Nothing's more powerful than idea. So I hope you know all, whether it's when we look back through history, whether it was banning Shakespeare, or as you heard, Huckleberry Finn, or banning Alice in Wonderland, or banning, To Kill a Mockingbird, or any of those other books, banning rap records in the 80s and 90s, the book banners will always be revealed as the bad guys of the story. Because when you're banning books and cheering as books are being pulled from the shelves, you're on the wrong side of history. So I love you all for being here tonight. I want to make sure we go quickly so we have time for all these other incredible, amazing authors. Huge thank you to Katie and everyone at Red, Wine, and Blue, to everyone at Women's March, to PEN America. They're a beautiful, incredible organization to put this together. But most important, thank you to you. You're here tonight to know that your voice matters. And Renee is proof that when you use that voice and get loud, people will listen. So keep fighting, keep reading, and then keep fighting some more. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'll put a link in for the books for anyone who wants Dolly Parton. But thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you so much. And Renee, you are just the most incredible young lady. Thank you for the work you're doing. I also would like to bring on right now two of our moms from Orange County, Florida, Stephanie Farrell and Jen Cousins. I know you've got some incredible stuff you want to share with us. This is going so great. I'm so excited.
Well, thank you very much, Stella. So for 6 months now, Jen and I, we have been public school parents and founders of the Florida Freedom to Read Project. And so our coalition, along which is fellow parents, educators, and students, we've been showing up to our school board meetings to voice our support for diverse library shelves. We believe that all students and their access to a high quality public education must be put first. Across the state of Florida, mostly LGBTQ+ books have been challenged and in some cases removed without a proper committee review. As Brad mentioned, with the signing of the Don't Say Gay bill into law last week, we have already seen Palm Beach County remove 2 LGBTQ+ family-themed picture books from both classrooms and libraries throughout the district. This new law doesn't even go into effect until July. So the district memo that went out didn't say, please remove all books about mommies and daddies or boyhood and girlhood to comply with the law. No, it specifically targeted and called out books about LGBTQ+ people.
So Stefana and I, along with our members, have been advocating nationally via social media, also locally and at the state level. We made multiple trips up to Tallahassee to voice our opposition to these really bad education bills, but regrettably they passed even without much public support. And our state legislators have ensured that the threat to book bans is going to continue past this school year by passing the book ban bill. This newly signed law also goes into effect in July, and it creates a statewide list of challenged and removed books while also seeking to chill speech in the library by discouraging purchases of potentially controversial books. As the mom of a non-binary middle schooler, these laws are incredibly hurtful to our family. In essence, my kindergartner and second grader won't be allowed to talk about their older sibling in school anymore. This could cause them to feel ashamed about our family, that somehow we're taboo or unwelcome in society. But luckily, that's not the way that they're raised. And they know that everyone is welcome no matter how they identify or who they choose to love. So with that, please welcome Leslea Newman, whose book Heather Has Two Mommies has been targeted by book banning extremists.
Hi, everybody. I'm so thrilled to be part of this incredible event with so many people who feel so passionately about literature as I do. I have to say, there is nothing more fierce than a parent protecting their child. And so I'm just so moved when I hear about parents standing up for these books. And I'm also so impressed with young people. Renee, oh my God, I'm not even going to tell you what I was doing at your age. I was certainly not fighting the good fight the way you are. And I'm so inspired by you. And you're our future. All the young people are our future. And you're going to make this world a better place and a place that you deserve. So very briefly, here is one of my books, Heather Has Two Mommies, which I wrote in 1988. Nobody would publish this book, so a friend and I put it out into the world on our own. Many people were thrilled. Many people were horrified. I was called all kinds of names. The reason I wrote this book was because a woman literally stopped me on the street and said, I don't have a book I could read to my daughter that shows a family like ours. Somebody should write one. And I knew exactly how her daughter was feeling, because when I was a child in the 1950s, there were no books about a family like mine, which was a Jewish family. So I read books that showed families with Christmas trees, families with Easter eggs. And, I said to my parents, why can't I have a Christmas tree? Why are we different? And in our culture, so often different translates to not as good as. And I loved what Renee said about a place at the table. I wrote Heather Has Two Mommies so that kids with two moms or two dads would feel they had a place at the table, and also so that their friends could see the beautiful diversity that is our world. And so this book has been challenged for 33 years. I just can't believe that I'm still talking about this all these years later. I was a young pup when I wrote the book. And I was very naive because I couldn't get the book published. I didn't think anybody would care about it, let alone challenge it. So, I was quite naive. And I will read a little bit from it so you can see, how very controversial it is. So in the book, Heather goes to preschool for the first time, and the teacher reads a story about a boy whose father is a veterinarian, and everyone who has a dad starts talking about their dads. And Heather, she's a little puzzled. She says, am I the only one here without a dad? And so the teacher says, let's all draw pictures of our families. So Juan draws his mommy and daddy and big brother Carlos. Miriam draws her mommy and her sister Rachel playing in the park. Stacy draws her daddy and her papa reading stories. Here you can see the pictures. Joshua hangs up the picture he drew of his mommy and stepfather dropping him off at his daddy's house. Emily tapes up the picture she drew of her grandma and their two puppies, Emmett and Charlie. And here is the crux of the matter. The teacher, Ms. Molly, looks at all the pictures. It doesn't matter how many mommies or how many daddies your family has, Ms. Molly says. It doesn't matter if your family has sisters or brothers or cousins or grandmas or grandpas or uncles or aunts. Each family is special. The most important thing about a family is that all the people in it love each other. So I have been wondering for 33 years, what is so controversial about that?
Thank you, Leslea. That is such an incredible message. And I think the most important thing that we can remember are this are these two things. Children are curious, they're going to learn. So let's inform them the proper way. And that's how we do it with books. And that being said, I'm going to introduce Ravita Rotman. She's a mom from Williamson County. Hi, Ravita. How are you doing, honey?
Good, Stella. How are you? Thank you for being
I'm
here.
great. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm
Thank
happy to
you.
share with a fellow Tennessean, so I'm excited about that. Here in Williamson County, we've had a steady stream of books that are being targeted, including books about Ruby Bridges. And so the people that are opposing these books are saying things like, it's too harsh. It depicts a large crowd of angry white people who didn't want Black children in a white school, as well as not offering redemption in the end. So if you understand, like me, sometimes historical facts and historical things that have happened to us here in our country don't always offer redemption. It doesn't mean that these trained educators that are teaching our kids and that we trust them with can't handle that situation or can't handle that conversation. So as Ms. Bridges told Congress, and I apologize for the extra noise I have, I'm sorry. As Ms. Bridges told Congress this morning, the truth can be hard, but in the long run, it will set you free. And that's what we really want to focus on, is to fight back. We've had, in our district, we've had parents that have spoke out at school board meetings. We've had students that have spoken out, as well as librarians that are sharing that story. And as Renee spoke today, I think that is one of the most powerful things that we can have, is a student's voice, because they are actually in it. We are speaking on this based on what we perceive, but these are actually students that this is affecting. So I think that is such a powerful thing to actually hear from them. One of the things that our organization, One Wilco, did here in Williamson County was we gifted our entire school board a beautiful Ruby Bridges book and a nice letter to give it to them, to let them read it and understand it. And one of the things that we found is the majority of the complaints that we had in our district about books such as Ruby Bridges books, we have over 40,000 students, and we had about 40 complaints that created such a problem. So we see that this is the silent majority of the people that are causing all this disruption, that are causing this. And over 30 of our complaints ended up coming from one school, and surprisingly was a strategy from an opposition group. So one of the things that really comes to mind for me is, does someone else's First Amendment disregard mine? And that's what we have to be considerate about, is the fact that someone else does not want to read a book. Don't read it. You don't have to. You have a choice. Everybody wants to talk about parental choice. You have a choice. Don't read the book. And so we having books and offering students a mirror where they can see themselves through another window and understand other experiences, as mentioned in the group before me, is so important. So I really want to encourage all of us to continue to speak out and share, because we are, in my opinion, the majority, and we just need to continue to be vocal. So now I would like to go ahead and introduce Jessica Ralli and Megan Madison, who are the authors of another children's book that is being targeted, and it's called Our Skin.
We are so inspired to be here amongst all of you. Megan and I are going to talk a little bit about why we wrote our book, which is called Our Skin, a first conversation about race. And I think that we knew when we were writing about a topic like race that there would be people who disagreed with us. I think we definitely knew that that was coming, because there is information in our book that I think pushes back against what people were taught about race, how they were raised, and what they believe young children are capable of learning about. And we believe that young children are capable and deserve the truth. But what I didn't anticipate is our book being so angrily challenged at school board meetings. I didn't anticipate it being removed from school libraries. I didn't anticipate people taking it off the board bookshelves at public libraries. So this is all what's happening. And I don't think I knew how I felt about it until I heard Jason Reynolds speak about how he feels about his books being banned. And he said lots of beautiful things, as he does. But one thing that resonated with me is he just said, you know, it's sad because it limits access, right? So it's taking these books away often from those who need them most. And I really started to wrap my head around the impact of that, because not everybody can buy our book. So we really need our books to be, our book and all of the books here, we need all these books to be in libraries and to be in classrooms, so that the children and families who need them will find them.
And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for the work that y'all are doing. Oh my goodness, thousands of people on this call. And I'm grateful for your love. This book, Our Skin, is a part of a series, and we just finished the manuscript of the next book in the series, which is about love. And in that process, it's really got me thinking about what is love. And I think the process of writing has clarified for me that love isn't just a feeling we feel in our hearts. It isn't just a thing that we say, but it's a verb. It's something that we do. And I see the work that you all are doing in organizing and fighting these book bans as an expression of love, a beautiful expression of love that's teaching your families and your children and your communities what it looks like to love, and to love all children out loud. Thank you.
We were going to read just a very short passage from our book, and it's a call to action, because this whole event is such a call to action. So Megan is going to start.
Okay. Racism hurts and is always unfair. That's why it's important to talk about it and to do our part to make things better.
All the time, even right now, people are working for racial justice by telling the truth and sharing feelings, by treating people the way that they want to be treated, by bravely saying, "That's not right!" By marching in protest, by singing songs that bring us together, by changing unfair rules, by teaching, helping, learning, and listening. We can do it too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ladies. I'm so inspired by just the things you've been sharing with us this evening. And for me, what struck me in your presentation is that by banning books, you're banning the truth, because everything that you have presented here is about the truth. And we just have to fight harder. That's all we can do, and bring more awareness. And on that being said, I'm going to introduce Deanna Perkins. She's a mom from Leander, Texas. Hi, Deanna.
Hi, Stella. Thank you for having me. Well, I've been inspired by all the previous people. Thank you so much, especially, of course, Renee, and your activism is amazing. My name is Deanna Perkins, and I'm a 17th year educator in the Leander School District, just northwest of Austin, Texas, where we currently have a set of banned books known as the Leander 11. I'm a 4th grade teacher, as well as a mother of 2 incredible young ladies. One is a junior in high school, and the other is a 7th grader. These daughters of mine, unfortunately, didn't inherit the reading gene from me. They only read when they're assigned to read something. That being said, my oldest had the opportunity to read one of the Leander 11 before it got taken away to be reviewed and then later banned. Now, this wasn't through the formal process that was already in place. This was a whole new process that involved members of the community, teachers, and parents, which was solely created to appease the book banners. This committee consisted of 8 cycles to review every book that was in the high school book club curriculum. Unfortunately, the results of this were that the books were taken out of classrooms, the curriculum, even with the inconsistencies of some of the results, which most of them were wanting them to stay as a choice. Most of these books were voices of the LGBTQ community and, of course, people of color. Taking away these books was taking away the opportunity for my daughters and many other students to read books that they might not otherwise read, and to learn about others' experiences, trauma, and even be able to critically think about the world around them through the lens of the oppressed and the vulnerable. It was taking away the books that our most vulnerable kids needed to feel like they were seen. As a mother and a teacher, I believe it's important for all students to learn about the world around them, especially what they haven't had to experience in their own lifetime. That's what creates empathy. I became an active and vocal member of our school community to protect against the book bans last March of 2021, after a group of people would read the smallest little excerpts out of context to try and take away the reading choices from the curriculum. I emphasize the word choice because these books were part of a book club curriculum where students had to choose from 15 different choices. It wasn't even required reading. We weren't going to let the book banners go after our books. So a group of teachers formed a group that we called #LetUsRead, and we spoke up. At school board meetings, on social media, to the press, we came together because there is strength in numbers. There are so many more of us, mainstream moms and teachers, than there are of them. We need to stand together, and more importantly, we have got to vote. I stand with all of these authors, but now I have the honor of introducing two talented authors of books that have been banned in my district and are currently being reevaluated to be banned from the library. Nikki Grimes, author of Ordinary Hazards, a memoir, and I.W. Gregorio, author of None of the Above.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here and to know that this many people are taking this issue seriously. It's a scary time we're in. I've always believed that the most important story I had to tell was my own. It's a story of darkness and light, of grief and grace, of struggle and survival. It's a story of childhood trauma and beating the odds. It's a story of the power of poetry and the power of hope. And I wrote it so that young people facing challenges in their own life would know that it's possible to meet those challenges, to walk through whatever darkness they may encounter along the way, and to come out on the other side whole and healthy and acquainted with joy. Who couldn't use a story like that? I was stunned when I learned that this book was being challenged. There's nothing offensive, graphic, or gratuitous in this memoir, and it's a memoir. What? Are there difficult and dark elements? Absolutely. But we live in an especially dark time, in a world that is racked by depression and despair, and young people are suffering emotional and mental anguish in numbers that are shattering. If ever there was a time for an honest yet hopeful book for young readers like Ordinary Hazards, that moment is definitely now. And the idea that readers would be cut off from access to this book is heartbreaking for me. I wrote it for them. That's why I'm so grateful for those families who are fighting to keep this book on school and library shelves. Again, be reminded, there are many children who don't have home libraries. And so their only access to books, school libraries and public libraries. I was one of those kids. I don't know who I would be if I didn't have access to the books that I clung to when I was a young person. And that's why banned books is not merely an issue of book sales, and we really need to change that language. It's an issue of book access. That's what we're really talking about and what we're really fighting for. Here's an excerpt from Ordinary Hazards. This chronicles a pivotal moment in my last foster home. Isolation station. The house was full, but with strangers, and I was there by myself in the dark, in a tiny pocket of a room with a tiny bed to sleep in, and little space for the fears I'd packed in my suitcase, which makes no sense because why would I bring them with me? And the night sounds foreign to the city girl, left me tossing and turning. There was no more room in my head to hold the anger rising like steam, searing the edges of my brain. There was not even a shelf where I could stack the questions, crying out for answers that wouldn't come. Why did mom love liquor more than me? More than Carol? Why did daddy let strangers take us away? Why did grandma refuse to come to our rescue? Why didn't they love us? Why didn't anyone love us enough? Why, stop? I leapt out of bed, switched on the light, grabbed a piece of paper and pen, stabbed the page and let my thoughts gush like a geyser, shooting high into the moonless sky, then falling down on the page I held captive till every line was stained with my feelings, and the heat of them finally had a chance to cool, and suddenly I could breathe, breathe, breathe. And there was once again room enough in my head and my heart to just be. Then I closed my eyes and it was morning. Journey. My life in notebooks began with this, a poem here, an observation there, a rage of red ink, each sheet of white, a paper haven. The blank page was the only place I could make sense of my life or use to keep record of each space I called home. The daily march of words parading from my pen kept me moving forward. And now it's over to Eileen Wong Gregorio.
You all are a really tough act to follow. I don't know how I was given the honor of going last, but it is not an honor. It is stressful. So I think that the first thing I wanted to point out was that so many of the people who support book bans say that they're protecting children, but they're not. They're harming the kids whose lives could be saved by reading these books because they're a mirror to their pathos, and they make them feel less alone. And these people are preventing all kids from learning the skills they need to be global citizens. So as many of you know, I'm actually a physician, I'm a surgeon in real life. And having survived 2 years of being a doctor during COVID, believe me that I know that the price of ignorance is high. And to me, book banning represents the choice of fear over knowledge, and in my case, the denial of science. So none of the above has often been pitched as Middlesex meets Mean Girls. And it's the story of a girl who finds out when she's 18 that she was born intersex, neither male nor female, but something in between. She has a biological condition. And this is something that I was inspired to write after meeting my first intersex patient during my residency training. And more specifically, I wrote none of the above because I was horrified by how badly medicine had failed intersex bodies by pathologizing them, by making them submit to surgeries, and how basically intersex people have been erased from the world because of all the shame and stigma attached to them, attached to their bodies, the bodies that they were born with. So I wrote none of the above to increase intersex awareness, not only for medical professionals who I think are really ill-equipped by medical schools to take care of people with genital differences, but more importantly, so that intersex kids can see themselves in books and realize that they can have a happy ending. I wrote it for the parents and loved ones of intersex people so that they can have a tool to introduce their friends and families to their unique complexities and struggles. And I wrote it to increase understanding and empathy, which is why I feel so gutted when book challenges mean that, once again, intersex stories are being erased, which has just caused an incredibly huge toll on the mental health of this community. I have so many friends who have lived their lives full of isolation and pain. So I think that everyone has already said most of the other things I want to say. So I'm going to read a very short excerpt from the book, which is from a part where my main character, Kristen, her diagnosis has been leaked to the school by her best friend, and she's reacting to a bullying incident. 6 years later, I realized I was not poised. How poised could I be if I was sitting in my room, trembling at the thought of Bruce Torino bullying me? How strong was I if I couldn't even envision a place or a time when I could stand up and confront my diagnosis rather than fleeing from who I was? Except, according to Gretchen, such a place existed. People with AIS found ways to live and thrive, ways to be loved, and some of them had shared their stories. I turned my computer on and found the link she'd sent me to the support group website. I expected maybe a couple of testimonials or links to magazine articles, maybe even a video or two. I didn't expect 146 personal stories, ranging from a few paragraphs to a few pages, written by women who'd found out about their AIS when they were as young as 12 and as old as 35, and by a few men with partial versions of AIS that sounded even more confusing and mind-messing than what I had. For the first time since my diagnosis, I felt like I'd gotten lucky. Only lucky didn't completely describe my feelings. Humbled was a better word for what I felt reading the honesty on that webpage, truth stripped naked for the entire internet to see. The common thread from all these stories was that talking helped, and listening, and time. One day I would find my own place. I couldn't run there though, because it didn't exist yet. I had to build it myself out of forgiveness, truth, and terrifying gestures of friendship.
I am Julie Collins, and I'm an organizer in Ohio with Red Wine and Blue.
Hi, I'm Julie Womack. I'm the organizing director for Red Wine and Blue. And yes, it's two Julies.
As Katie mentioned at the top of the show, there was big news today. A congressional committee actually held hearings on book bans. We are thrilled that they are shining a light on this issue. They had teachers, librarians, students, and moms that sharing their personal experiences with the book bans. And even bigger news, testifying along with them was none other than Ruby Bridges. It's really unbelievable that people are trying to ban books about her story.
So we need to keep this momentum going, and we need you to help right now. Today's hearing was a really, really great first step, but we can't stop there. We need our leaders to step up. And in order to get them to do that, they need to hear from you. You can send a letter to your own member of Congress and really make a difference. You can tell them to publicly oppose these book bans. And they really only listen to their own constituents, the people in their district. So it's really, really important that you contact them. And we're going to make it really easy for you to do that. So if you look at the slide here that screwed Julie and I up and not recognizing we were on, there's a QR code. So if you want to scan that right now with your phone, you can do that. Or if you look in the chat, our team is dropping a link. And this is a letter that is pre-written that you can send to your member of Congress. All you have to do is enter your information, and the letter will automatically be sent to your representative. So I want you to look at how many people are on this call right now and think about the huge impact that we could make together right this instant. So please take that action.
Plus, as a thank you, after you send the letter, there's a bonus. You're going to receive a free copy of our parent playbook. This is our go-to guide for fighting book bans in your community. It teaches you how to bring people together, our best advice on how to be effective in front of your school board, and how to raise awareness in your community. We also hold troublemaker trainings each week on this same topic. You can check out all of our events and sign up for training at the link that our team is dropping in the chat.
We really hope that you've been inspired tonight to take action in your community and help raise awareness about these book bans nationwide. This is so important because the majority of people in our country do not. In fact, poll after poll pretty much shows that like well over 80% of people oppose bans. So, and no matter your political party, 80%, like over 80%. So Red Wine and Blue is here to help. Check out our Book Ban Busters campaign, and you'll find the link in the chat. Our team is dropping that for you right now. That is where we are tracking bans across the country. We have an interactive map so you can click and see what's going on near you. You can report bans, and you can also sign up for training there as well. And also there's resources on that page. So you can find things available from our partners. We're excited today. PEN America just released a new comprehensive index of all banned books. And there's also additional training from Heal Together, one of our partners. So please go and check that out.
Also on the Book Ban Busters page, we have an instruction sheet on how to host your own read-in. If you loved our read-in tonight, then hold one where you live. And then once you do, let us know about it. We want to amplify what you are doing.
Okay, and if you want to have a little bit more fun, we have a photo challenge. You guys can get out there and put your smiling faces on social media. All we need you to do is take a selfie with your favorite banned book. Use the hashtag, which is being dropped in the chat. Hashtag is Banned Book Challenge. So put that hashtag with your photo, tag Red, Wine, and Blue, whatever your favorite social media platform is, and we will help to amplify that. So let's get everybody talking about books, because what we want them to do is be going, wait, book bans? What? Book bans in 2022? Are you kidding me? We need to raise that awareness.
We're so glad that you joined us tonight, and we hope you will stay connected by following us on social media and coming to our events. Julie and I would love to see you again. Now back to you, Stella.
Thank you, ladies. This has been such an incredible evening for me, and I want to thank everyone who has joined us tonight. And I would like to encourage you, as the ladies said, to write to your congressman or woman, and to make sure that I would also like to invite the media, the press, and social media, as well as all the news outlets, to talk about this more, because this is such an urgent issue. We need to, instead of banning books, we need to buy more books. And I would like to challenge everyone to buy at least one child a book this year and see what the difference can make for others. And I want to thank all the writers and all the speakers tonight. And I want to thank everyone for inviting me to be a part of this, because this was a beautiful event. And again, thanks everyone for joining. See you.
Thank you so much, Stella. It was so wonderful. What a privilege to have you here with us tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Again, I'm Katie, the founder of Red, Wine, and Blue, and we just want to invite every single parent out there, all of you all and all your friends. If you are bothered by book banning in 2022, please join us, no matter your political party. This is about American values. This is about freedom. This is about standing up and doing what's right for our kids. So thank you for doing that, everyone here. And we can't wait to keep fighting by your side. So go to bookbanbusters.com if you haven't yet. And if you haven't sent your letter to your member of Congress, get that link, copy and paste it, and send it to your friends there in the chat. We can all take action and really get our leaders to follow our lead here. That's what democracy is all about. Thanks, everybody. And thank you, Stella, again.
Thank you.